Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video preview of the Michigan football game. I'm Pete Bigelow here with my colleague from AnnArbor.com, Mike Rothstein. This weekend the Wolverines host Wisconsin, 12 o'clock at Michigan Stadium. Wolverines enter the game on a two-game winning streak. Wisconsin, of course, coming off an 83-20 win over Indiana, an absolute shellacking. And Mike, the most interesting part of that game to me was the fact that Wisconsin running back John Clay, a potential Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, didn't even play in that game. Talk a little bit about Wisconsin's running backs and what they do with the football.
Well, first of all, I think that Clay at one point was the front runner for Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, but I don't even think he's in the conversation anymore because of what Dan Persa has done, what Denard has done, what Terrell Pryor has done, what Ricky Stanzi has done. I think he's probably no better than fifth right now. That said, no matter who Wisconsin gives the ball to, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball effectively. Whether it's James White, whether it's Monty Ball, or whether John Clay is available to play, they've all shown the ability to be a 1,000-yard rusher if they were able to get that type of carries, and they've all shown the ability to put the ball in the end zone. They've all shown the ability to essentially run over defensive linemen and linebackers.
And what's interesting to me about that, Mike, is it's very much a system not unlike the one the Denver Broncos had many years ago, where it's almost an interchangeable running back. The key to the whole operation is that Wisconsin offensive line. They're 6'7" on the tackles, and they're just a very sizable group of athletes who really move well despite their size and pave the way for those running backs.
Yeah, and all the running backs are better than Kirill Buckhalter too. But the thing is that when you look at their offensive line, like you said, there's probably 3 or 4 guys on that line who will collect NFL paychecks in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, and that's a big difference between almost any other team in the Big Ten. You even look at Michigan's line, there's maybe 2 guys on that line right now that you think are going to get NFL paychecks and have long NFL careers. Maybe. That said, I think the big question is, as it is every week, will Denard Robinson stay healthy, and what will the Michigan offense be able to do against a Wisconsin defense that is shown to be one of the better units in the Big Ten?
I thought one of the interesting things Rich Rodriguez said this week was that he thought Ryan Kerrigan was an all Big Ten player. Kerrigan had 4 sacks for Purdue last week against Michigan. He said, Rich said that J.J. Watt, Wisconsin's defensive end, is an All-American type player. And I thought it was an interesting difference between what Rich said about each of those guys. So certainly Michigan's offensive line has its hands full again this week with an All-American caliber player on defense. We saw what Kerrigan did last week. Do you think that we're in for another rough game from the offensive line?
Well, when I was talking to Steve Schilling, he said he really likes these types of matchups because it prepares him for what he's going to see next year. I mean, if you think about it, the last 3 weeks of the season, he'll face Ryan Kerrigan, J.J. Watt, and Cameron Hayward. All those guys are going to play in the NFL, and all of them are going to be probably first-round draft picks in the NFL. When you look at what J.J. Watt does, J.J. Watt's biggest thing, in my opinion, is his versatility. He's able to move all around the line, and they're able to move him a bunch of different places and play him everywhere, which gives them different looks and gives them different types of rush patterns that they can employ, and that's part of what makes Wisconsin's defense good. But Wisconsin, no matter what, they do the same thing. They run the ball at you on offense, and they're going to hit you, and they're going to hit you hard on defense. And you know what? It works for them. They're right now the front runners to go to the Rose Bowl. So, Pete, what do you think is going to happen this week?
Mike, I think it's important to note Wisconsin's a much better home team than they are on the road historically. And we saw that a little bit this year with their lone loss coming at Michigan State earlier this year. Honestly, I think that Badgers team has grown a lot since that day. Wisconsin looks like a different team in a lot of respects than the one that lost in East Lansing a month or so ago. That said, I think Wisconsin has a little too much momentum coming to this game. Their offense really firing on all cylinders, and it really, comparing them to the Michigan defense, Michigan's really undersized, and I think that Wisconsin's going to have the ability to wear them down at Michigan Stadium Saturday. No upset this week. I think Wisconsin wins 45-35.
Well, Pete, I hate to agree with you, but I have to agree with you this week. Here's the thing, is that Wisconsin always had trouble in the state of Michigan. They have never really had much success in the state for the past decade. It seems like Michigan's this giant cloud, maybe giant mitten, if you will, of badness for the Badgers. That said, I think that changes this week. I think this Wisconsin team, by beating Iowa, by beating Ohio State, has shown that they have the resolve that they haven't maybe had in past years, and Brett Bielema has gotten over that can't win the big game mantra. This game, not as big for Wisconsin, except they're probably going to the Rose Bowl. I'm taking Wisconsin 45, Michigan 21.